first running of the Derby. Here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada for day 3 on the racing calendar. And what a great day 2 we had here at Assiniboia Downs. It was a record-breaking day. Our handle was 1.6 million, eclipsing the mark of 1.1 million that we did previously have. And we'd like to thank all of you for joining us through our first 2 days of racing and here in day number 3. Let's take a quick look back at day number 2. I'm going to send it over to Marshall and Stretch. What's your thoughts on day 2?
Thanks, Kirt. Day 2, well, it was a tough card overall. We talked about that during the show yesterday. None of us really had any best bets yesterday. We thought that there were a couple of races that were pretty wide open. A number of long shots did, in fact, win. I think the one point I want to make was that yesterday, compared to opening day on Monday, where we saw 5 of the 6 races won by horses on or near the lead, yesterday was the opposite, where we saw 5 of 6 actually won by horses coming from off the pace. In both those cases, the last race of the day was the odd race out. On Monday, we saw a deep closer winning the last race, and then yesterday we finally saw the first horse go gate to wire. I think that's because the track was drying out. We did have a bunch of rain yesterday. There was a ton of moisture in the track. It was sealed up until about race time yesterday. So I think it dried out over the course of the evening. Today has been the exact opposite kind of day. It's been a hot day. It's been sunny. It's been windy. I don't think there's going to be a ton of moisture in the track. I think we're going to see horses with speed that are able to carry that speed. And we could see a couple of horses go gate to wire tonight.
Stretch, what are your thoughts?
Just a comment on the pick 4, the first 2 days, big prices, and that's happened in the past years early on. If you just hit one pick 4 in the week or 2 weeks, you're usually in pretty good shape, and that's what we saw. A couple favorites early on Monday, and then long shots at the end paid well, and yesterday was boxcars. But that's kind of how it is sometimes at the start of meets.
Yeah, let's kick off ASD live here. Kicking off the early daily double with a $5,000 claimer for Manitoba bred, Saskatchewan, North Dakota, and South Dakota bred filly and mare. 3 and up maidens going the distance of 5 furlongs. Marshall, you'll be first.
Okay, so you guys can stop me if you've heard me say this before. I'm going to go with a Michael Nault trained, Barry Arneson owned, Antonia Whitehall ridden horse to win the first. I think that's the most likely winner. Number 4, Amy on Tour. Clearly this horse, as a 3-year-old, has thrown a number of speed figures that would prove best in here. The horse is now a 4-year-old. We talked about the fact that at this time of year, we like to bet for older horses as opposed to 3-year-olds. And there are a couple of real solid works here. So I think the 4 is the most likely winner. Certainly not going to get a price on this horse, will be a big favorite. So I've got an interesting angle here, a pedigree angle on the deuce. This is a 3-year-old, so I am going against a bit of what I just said, but I'm going to take a shot because of the low price. Let's talk about the family history here. There's 7 siblings to report, and the one angle that really stands out to me is a full brother. To this horse has a full brother who's raced here before. Andale broke his maiden at first asking at the special weight level for these same connections. He went on to run 2nd and 3rd in a pair of local stakes races. So I do think that this horse has the pedigree to win at first asking. I like the 5 furlong works. They're a little on the slow side, but still they're 5 furlong works. So there is some foundation there. And the owner and breeder, Betty Hughes, is no stranger to the winner's circle. She's had lots of winners over the years here. So I like the connections. I do give this horse a chance to upset. The other horse I'll mention quickly is number 3, Barbie's Quest. Should be charging late. Again, I do think it's going to be a speed track today, so I don't think it's going to favor deep closers, but I do think that number 3, Barbie's Quest, can get a piece of the try. And I'll mention number 1, dropping from 7,500 last year that was open into this state-bred maiden 5,000. Could improve for sure, second start lifetime. That's so 2-4-3, Kirt.
All right, and Stretch, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Basically, it's the race goes through the 4. Marshall's already mentioned that. That last race of the year, it was last year. If she runs to that race, unless something crazy with Stats Marshall comes through, but it's the 4. The only thing to add is maybe the 6 horse, possibly improving, has some speed, but I've simply got it as the 4-3-6. Marshall's kind of made all the key points here.
Well, 4-3-6, you guys have an interesting note on Amy on Tour. A horse that she used to work as a 2-year-old was Hidden Grace. If you don't know who that is, she is undefeated, 9 for 9. And Amy put Hidden Grace in her place for most of those workouts. She has been a little bit of a morning glory, came in with sizzling workouts again last year, has been well respected in most of her outings, and has disappointed. But as these guys said, I think she's found the dream spot here, and she seems to be the speed. JF Money Girl does have some early gas on the outside, the 6 horse. But I think Amy on Tour just hits the front end, plays Catch Me If You Can. You're not going to get a big mutual price, but I think you have to go after the exactor in here, and the only one you guys haven't talked about is number 5, Commando Beach. This horse debuted at 7.5 furlongs last year, showed speed, and then tired. That's a tough task for your first lifetime start. Switches barns from the Stephen Gaskin barn over to the Curtis Maxwell barn, but I like the workouts. That 49-3 on May the 11th, a nice easy half-mile breeze, and then came back to the good gate work, 50-4. These aren't horses that'll blaze down there with great workouts in the morning. So I think Commando Beach could be a great long shot to hit the top 3, and that's going to be my play underneath Amy on Tour. Now over to race number 2 for, again, a Manitoba, Saskatchewan, North Dakota, South Dakota bred filly 3-year-old maiden allowance race. Stretch, kicking off the pick 5. What are you liking here?
Okay, to start with, this is a race with so many unknowns. Some of them are going to need to improve to win. You've got many first-time starters in here, so this is my least favorite race on the card. Lots of potential if you have some angles on the first-time starters. What I've got all is I'd be guessing for any information on the first-time starters. So I've gone to the 1 kind of by default. Last year's had a 2nd and a 3rd. Those races are probably close enough to possibly win the race. Will be the favorite. It's not going to be as solid as a favorite, or as likely a favorite as the first race. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of going to favorites with so many unknowns. You've got the other ones in here. You've got the 4 and 5 from Tom Garnapeet. It's a tough read. They've both worked probably together. Kirt will probably give us that information. You've got to consider them because, such a good trainer. The other one consider is the 6 horse. I think the horse is going to probably improve a little bit. Not a lot to go on this one. Like I said, it's not my favorite. I'm not going to force the issue and trying to find things when I don't see anything there. Kirt?
Yeah, Stretch, it sounds like you're pressing the all button on that one. Marshall, what do you like?
Well, the all button's not a bad idea. This is, let's see, another wide open race. It's a pretty interesting race to kick off the pick 5. I will mention that there's a nice carryover of 31,000 Canadian going into tonight's card. So if you're a horizontal wager player, that's a good bet to take a shot with, especially because this race is challenging. I do have some info here on some of the firsters that I'll share with you. From my vantage point, just looking at the horses that have raced, nothing really that's inspirational to me. There's no world beaters in here, clearly. So I think it's not going to take much for one of these firsters to step up and win the race. So let's start with the deuce, number 2, Inventus. There are 13 siblings to talk about, 12 of which have raced, 9 of which have won. And there's a couple of siblings in there that have really become accomplished. Gabby got her way, was 3 for lifetime, won over 100K. Jennifer was 10 for 50 with winnings of over 310,000 and in the money in over 50% of her total races, which is pretty amazing. Another one, Kalu on the Rocks, 8 for 36 lifetime with 150K in earnings. Mr. Calypso, 15 for 49 with 125,000 in earnings. That horse actually ran locally for several starts. There's a ton of runners in this family history. I definitely give the deuce a shot in here. Then looking at the 4, Make It Sweet. Another one has a sibling that 1 out of 2 siblings has raced, but the one that interests me is the full sister named Sweet Design. Raced at ASD over the past 2 years, did have some success, 9 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and 4 thirds, total earnings of 30,000. So you know that there's some runners in the family as well. This horse might prefer a little more ground because the full sister did, so you might want to give this one a start or 2. Number 5, Sizzle and Susie, 7 siblings to report, 6 of which have raced, all 6 have won, including a local horse, Manitoba Chrome. There's another one, Manitoba Pharaoh, who hasn't raced yet. But neither of those horses, or any of those horses really, were world beaters, so you might need to give this horse a start also. The last one I'll mention, number 7, 60 Shades of Blues, 6 siblings to report, 5 of which have raced, 3 of which have won. None of them have raced locally. The most accomplished runner was a horse named There Goes Jojo. Had a short career, but actually with 9 starts, 2 wins, had earnings of over 189,000. Won first out and finished second in the Fountain of Youth Stakes and third in the 2009 Florida Derby. So if you're going deep in your horizontal wagers or in your vertical wagers, I would definitely include the 7. So I'm gonna go with the firsters in here, 2, 4, 7. Kirt?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. A couple things to add. Number 2, Inventus has been working. It's a horse called Alpha Bear, also out of the Wendy Anderson barn, and they've been working each and every time. Alpha Bear had 1 start in Saskatchewan last year at Marquis Downs and was a winner by 5 lengths. It is a New York bred, but it was only 3-horse field, so not sure what to take out of that, but has been working against a winner, and they've been going head and head. And Tom Gardapi Jr., Sizzle and Susie, and Make It Sweet, that last work is out of the starting gate on May the 20th, so take note of that. And they did work together, and Sizzle and Susie handily won that workout. So I think she might be a little bit better than number 4, Make It Sweet. But I'm with you guys that this is a wide open race, but I like number 6, No More Secrets. I think Antonio Whitehall, Michael Knowlton, Barry Arneson can make it the daily double. A nice 36-3 work early on. The horse came out of the CTHS sales stake. You see the 3rd place finisher, Bear Me a Moment, won the boys' side of this. So, and that was this year. So these horses from one year to the next, the 2 to the 3-year-old campaign, they can really change. I think No More Secrets just might be able to do that. And I think you're going to get some good odds on No More Secrets today. Now we're going to carry on to race number 3, kicking off $10,000 guaranteed pick 4 wagering. This is a $5,000 claimer for 3-year-olds and up that are non-2 lifers. Stretch, who do you like in here?
Okay, so we're in race number 3. There's going to be a standout. Most likely winner is going to be the 5, but that's okay. Here's another one that I'm on board on the favorite. It's got huge works at 5 furlongs. It's dropping in speed, meaning it's raced at a higher level, dropping down a little bit, racing a little bit easier. The sleeper for me in here is the 3-horse. We saw a few horses on Monday and Tuesday go to other tracks, struggle, and then come to a new track or come back. This is a great example on the 3. If you look closely, you throw out the races at Oaklawn. The horse was over 100 to 1, obviously extremely tough racing at that level. But the races at ASD, There's a horse that it raced against is Marcelan, who is running in for 10,000 that I believe has a good chance in the fifth race. So if I'm liking that horse in the fifth, this horse was competitive at a lower level. That's where I'm considering the price. Probably the 5-3. If you're a trifecta player or the top three or a superfecta, possibly the one horse, not a winner, but third or fourth to help it make it pay, since I'm giving you a couple favorites to start. So my order is a 5-3-1.
Okay, over to you, Marshall.
Well, clearly Stretch is reading my notes here on this race. But I agree. I mean, those are the two top contenders for me as well. I think they're the standout contenders in this race. The number 5, Ojo Del Mar, horse has been racing much tougher last year out west, then made a single start at Woodbine, showed speed. I like the 3 workouts. I think this horse can get an easy lead in here today. Play catch me if you can, basically, with the field. If there is a horse that does catch him, it'll be the 3 Strong Arm. Like Glenn, I'm going to throw those 3 races out at Oaklawn at 100 to 1 plus each time. The horse was clearly not expected to run. Those were just workouts for the horse to get conditioning into him. His races last year at ASD at the allowance N2L level were excellent. And I think that he's got a good record at the track. He broke his maiden here. I think the drop to this level today could be the day for sure. The other notes I have in here are number 4, Shim Shadow. Did break his maiden at Century Mile, but then was facing easier at the minor tracks in Alberta. He has tried a couple of stake races, though, some tougher ones, and this company today will be much easier. So I think he could get a piece underneath. The number 7, Young Boy, he should have a fitness edge in here, having raced at Fawner, but there's no workout in the past 23 days, and I like to see recency within a 3-week period, so about a 21-day period, either a race or a work. But we saw Gorno win his first race, so he could be heating up. Probably will use him underneath in some tries. But I'm going to just stick with the 5-3 and the 4 for third.
Okay, Marshall, I just want to touch on number 7, Young Boy. That missing workout. Actually, this horse does have a work, but it was a non-qualifying work. The horse was coming around the turn and then blew the turn, bolted to the outside. Sheldon Chickness was on that morning. He corralled him, brought him back to the rail, and then just wasn't able to make the time. So he did have a workout, but it's just not on the form. They do go too slow, they don't make it into the program because they're outside the parameters that were given to put the workouts in. So Young Boy does have a work, but it was too slow, but the horse did bolt, so you might want to put that into your handicapping. Not that he's going to do it in the race, but he did do it in the morning, and that's why the work isn't there. But he still has a race within 30 days, so he does not need a work. But I'm with you guys with Ojo Del Mar going to the front. I think it's going to be a $3 horse. Hit the front end. I'm expecting this horse to be long gone. Jay's Mr. Bling is the only one that I think has credible speed to stay close, but I think Ojo will just have about a 3-length lead, and I'm all with you with Strong Arm too. Too tough at Oaklawn. Any of these horses went to Oaklawn, they would have a really tough time, as Strong Arm did. I'm with you on those two, 5-3, and I have the same picks as Stretch, 5-3-1. Now we're going to carry on to race number 4, kicking off another pick 3. It's a maiden allowance race. 4 3-year-old maidens, and they're tackling that 5 furlongs again. Stretch, take it away.
Okay. This is an interesting race simply because I like one horse in here, and if I didn't take that horse, I would need a bunch. So basically I'm going to go right to the 7 horse, which unfortunately is going to be the likely favorite. Couple key things. The horse has been training down south at a training track, will be in shape. The other sneaky angle that you have to look for is I like to try and find speed in races. Here it's hard to find, but I believe that because the horse was running at a tougher level, up close, chasing some better quality, this is probably the sneaky speed. So when that happens, no speed, and you find the speed, a lot of times will become the lone speed of the race. That is as dangerous as it gets. And so I've got to stick with the 7. For some reason, if it doesn't show speed, that opens up for many horses. My second choice would be the 8, same trainer. Only had the 1 start, a lot of chance to improve. I just think the 7 is better than the 8. I'll be betting the 7 horse to win, but as a saver on the 7-8. So it's 7-8, maybe 8-7, and then after that, the others are small little factors. Maybe Stats Marshall will give us some stats coming up.
Okay, Marshall.
Well, I'll give you some stats coming up. I'll tell you about the firster, but I have a few other notes first, actually. There's a bunch of horses that are coming from U.S. tracks. Let's start with the 6, Galaxy Invasion. This horse has been racing in Florida. That really hasn't shown much, but I do like when horses come to ASD from Tampa in particular. It's a deep track Tampa, so you know that they're well conditioned. Granted, this was back in February, but horses can wake up when they come here from Tampa. So it's a horse that I've marked I will definitely use. I want to also mention the 2, Which Shortstop. Fitness edge for sure, racing at Fauner Park. I actually bet this horse last time at Fauner Park. Couldn't get the job done, but I do think that there's a definite advantage here with the fitness. So I do give the Deuce a small shot as well. Number 1, Chicago Roll. You got Ryan Desjardins. You had a winner, 2 winners the other night, rather. One of them was from Turfway Park as well. This horse had been racing wide in the races at Turfway Park. Does have some slow works, but I do think if you're going deep, that's another potential winner. I agree, though, with Stretch. Devil's Command, I mean, he looks like the speed of the race. He looks like lone speed, in fact, which is always dangerous. He's had 3 very creditable races last year at 3 different Canadian tracks, including here at ASD, so he's got some experience over the local surface. Again, another horse of Rycross that wintered in Florida, so I think he'll be real tough. I'm going to go with 7-6-2 in the 4th.
Okay, I'm going to go to that 2 horse. I like that you bet him last time, 23-1, and you almost cashed. 3rd beaten 5. Which Shortstop? We've had a few Jerry Gornall horses hit the board at big odds. Alicia's Valentine being one of them. I think was 30-1 the other night. And Which Shortstop will be inside speed here. And if Devil's Command doesn't have that real good early speed, that 2 to 3-year-old campaign is a real question mark. Some of the 2-year-olds run okay. They become 3-year-olds. They're absolute superstars. And some do the exact opposite. Superstars at 2, and then they filter down as a 3-year-old. So Which Shortstop has shown speed, and that's what I like. And we're looking at speed playing well tonight. And Which Shortstop has that speed, almost got it done last time out, has a big fitness edge. So if they start banging it out, I think that fitness will come into play, and Which Shortstop will be able to last a little bit longer. Went 6 furlongs last time and tired to be beaten by 5, but if that horse went 5/8, that would have been a bit different story. Might have been in a photo for the win. So I like Which Shortstop, but I definitely like Devil's Command also in here. I was surprised that you guys weren't a little more over Chicago Roll. Ryan did win the late daily double opening night. And then you guys like Sir Yarnalton yesterday, his 3rd starter, that ended up running a very credible 3rd place finish. And Chicago Roll has the winter racing under the belt, and Turfway and Mountaineer, or Moon Valley Racecourse, pardon me. And I think Chicago Roll has a little bit of upside, to say, on the inside. But I'm going to go to Which Shortstop to try and go all the way. I don't think we're going to get 23-1 in here. I think it'll be about 7 or 8-1, but I think it has a good chance. Now we're going to carry on to race number 5, kicking off late double wagering. $10,000 claimer for 3-year-olds and up, which are non-2 lifers, and this looks like a great race on paper, going the 5 furlongs, and we're going to get you, Marshall, to kick things off.
Okay, sounds good, Kurt. This is a tricky race. I think that there are a couple of contenders in here for sure. I'm going to go right to my favorite horse in here, number 5, Strider's Ring. Dropping speed. This horse has been facing tougher. I don't think he'll have any problem getting the early lead. I don't really see anyone being able to go with him. two excellent works, but I'm not just going to look at the times for those works, which